Okay, so we're going to take a brief aside from building robots and programming and just play a little bit with some 3D design and 3D printing. I think you should have a little taste of it before you get to the last portion of this course, which is the independent projects, in case you want to build something. And we'll do something with the laser cutter as well. But we're going to start by just making a small tag with your name on it that we can attach to or fix to the robot or whatever, so we can kind of keep track of who is who when we're doing sumo battles or whatever else. So to do that, we're going to use the 3D printer, and we're going to use some free software. And I think we're just going to use SketchUp free, which is pretty good. So here I am in Google, and in fact I use it so often it pops up as one of my primary choices, along with Amazon, Disney, and Tubi for watching TV. But SketchUp, free online. Be careful, don't just go SketchUp. You have to do the free online. It's a very expensive software, and they're going to try to seduce you into spending a ton of money. Make sure you get the free version. And it should show up as free 3D modeling software. You click on that. Now, I already have an account, so it jumped right to start modeling. You'll probably have an intermediate where you have to create an account or click log in with Google or something along that line. But I'm already set up. And in fact, I've already got it running here. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to come over here to SketchUp. Now, the first thing we have to do is get our units all set. And this is super important. The 3D printers, everything in the room is set to the metric system. So we need to make sure the software is set to the metric system. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to make sure I'm on the metric system. We're going to make something kind of crude. It doesn't have to be super precise. And I'm going to set there, and I'm going to make my snap 0.5 because we're going to make something real small. And snap is essentially, imagine if there's a grid and you're moving your mouse, and there's an XY grid. It's going to drag your mouse to the nearest point within a half a millimeter. So that's what that's actually going to do. We're not going to have a grid. You're not going to see a grid, but you'll see that your drawing is going to snap to an imaginary invisible point. So I'm going to get that out of the way. And I'm going to take my dude, and I'm just going to delete him. Now I'm going to take over here and look for my drawing tools. If it doesn't show up, we're looking for a rectangle, but you can see there's lots of tools. If you click on the little dots or the arrows on the side, we have lots of options. But we're going to go to the rectangle, and I'm going to go down here and click it. And I'm just going to drag it out. I don't have any idea where it is. I don't care yet. I'm just going to click. Now this is important. Don't move your mouse. Don't try to select the lower right hand corner, which is probably where you think you need to go. Don't do it. Just type in there 30, comma 10, and that's going to be a 3 centimeter by 1 centimeter rectangle. Okay, and hit enter. And there it is. It's super small. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to the last box, and I'm going to click on the zoom to extents. And voila. Now it's, zoomed into a nice working size. If you hit O on your keyboard, it's going to give you the orbit tool. And you can see we can rearrange our axes by clicking and dragging if you have a mouse. So I'm going to kind of look down upon it. And I'm going to actually make my placard with rounded edges. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to click on this one that says 2-point arc. And you'll notice this will snap to particular points. It's going to snap to a midpoint. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to snap to midpoint, click. I'm going to drag it along this axis, and it's going to turn pink. And now I'm going to double click, and it's going to then go ahead and draw that arc. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. It snaps, follow it along, turns pink, double click. Now I'm going to come here and do the same thing. Snap, turns pink, double click. Snap, turns pink, double click. Okay? So now I have my nice rounded edge shape that I can work with. So now I'm going to put a hole in it so that we can attach it to our robot. But I want it in the center. So I'm just going to take my drawing tool, and I'm going to make it so it snaps the center, midpoint. And I'm going to draw a line like that. And now I'm going to find the circle tool. There it is. And I'm going to want to put it, oh, I don't know, about here. I don't care too much. And I'm going to go out. I want to make it actually 1.5. So I'm just going to drag it out anywhere. It doesn't matter where. I'm just going to click. And then I'm going to type 1.5. And that is going to give me a 3 millimeter in diameter hole. Okay? So I'm now 3 millimeters. And now what I'm going to do, that actually might be, oh, that looks pretty good. I think it's not too close to the edge. I think we should be fine. And so now I'm going to go and delete my reference lines just by selecting them. And I'm now going to orbit up a little bit. You can see we're still dealing with a perfectly flat object. So I'm going to hit P for push-pull. You can also select this, but I'm going to hit P for push-pull. And I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to pull it up about there. I'll type in 1.5, and that's exactly where I am. So it's 1.5 millimeters thick. Now I'm going to take my orbit tool, the O on the keyboard. I want to make sure it's flat on both sides. It sure is. I'm going to take my arrow. I'm going to select this, and you can see that it's got dots in it now. So it's a selected area, and then I'm going to delete it. And now you can see that I have a hole in my placard. Alright, so we're going to take this down. Now I'm going to go over here to my drawing tools again, and I'm going to find the text. I'm going to put in my name. So the important things here is, remember, this thing is only 10 millimeters, or 10 millimeters, or 1 centimeter totally across. So I'm going to set the height of my letters to be 5. And extrusion is how deep you want them to stick out. And I don't want them to stick out very far. 1 millimeter is plenty far enough for what we're making right here. Say okay. Hey, what the heck? Where'd that J come from? Hold on a second. Let me go back and do this again. Must have bumped it. 5 millimeters, 1 millimeter. There we go. And I'm going to stick it just like that. And now what I'm going to do is go File, Save As, Purge All, SketchUp. I'm going to put it in one of my many directories here. I'm going to put it in my OneBot parts. You can do whatever you want and create a directory. And I'm going to call this NameTag. And we're going to save it. Okay. The last thing, I'm going to make sure that nothing is selected. I want the whole object, so just clicking off of it. You can take a look at it. Make sure it looks good. Alright. So the next step, we have to actually send this to the 3D printer as a, well, we have to convert a file, I'm sorry. We're going to send it to the computer that's hooked up to our 3D printers. And the first thing you need to do is you're going to have to actually download an STL. And now you can see my NameTag STL is coming down here. This, and I'll show you in the next video, needs to be saved onto a flash drive or a SD card and then carried over to our converter computer sitting by the printer. But I will show you that in a follow-up video, and I'll see you guys again soon.